Sorry, I've had to swallow my gum. Good morning. Welcome back to Daybreak, and it's Tuesday, so you know it is Engage. And today the crew is back. CJ Atemo, karibu sana.
Asante.
Watu wamekuwa tu hapa globetrotting. Robert Burale, Robert Israel.
Yes.
Burale.
Thank you.
Is also back with us now. And I was having this conversation by there. It's good that we are talking about it today. Today we're talking about finishing strong, and this is the context. When July began, you saw all the memes. People started saying, "Oh my God, 2020 is now 6 months away. Don't let anybody waste your time." And now, before we know it, we are now on the 16th. In just a few days, it will now be 5 months away. And most people are still sharing the meme, but it just stops there. That's all we do. We share the memes and we go back to doing our daily routine, and then we expect that by 2022, it's going to be power.
Preach, brother.
So what we want to talk about today is avoiding some of those pitfalls and how to actually, make steps that will ensure that you change. And you're not just doing it for FOMO. It's not just a fashionable statement that I have 6 more months, or around, well, you say 5.5, right? 5.5 months left in this year. What is it that I can do different? First of all, I guess I'll start by saying, is it possible in the remaining 5 months for somebody to change their situation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But before you change the situation, you must change your mindset. Go beyond making the emotional or exciting statements. Like 2020 around the corner. I see you, I'm coming after you. There's some, what we call romantic statements that people make year in, year out. Just if you ask most of the people, in the last 5 years, every new year, they made some very powerful statements.
Yes.
But they didn't make any powerful moves. So it just ends on the oral place, you understand? So you must, of course, have a mind shift. You must have a crowd shift as well. Because you cannot be hanging around people doing the same thing and you expect a different result. Yeah, so before anything, before any movement, there has to be a mind shift. Yeah.
So how do you, let's begin there, because you've talked about two things, which is mind shift and crowd shift.
Yes.
Crowd shift will involve, the mind shift is important, but I remember even when was it, Friday, when Trevor and Zinzi were talking about friendship and the circles, and if you've seen this week, a lot has been trending about when Andrew Kipp was talking about that friends are basically, at the end of the day, situational. So then when you talk about crowd shift, that means you move from your friends. But let's talk first about mindset. So how does one begin to, how do I know, first of all, that I'm thinking amiss? Let me say that.
Let me just pick up from where RB has left about the mind shift and the crowd shift. When you have the shift in your mind, you inevitably will have a shift in the crowd because people engage at the level of their thinking and their mentality. So the moment you have shifted how you're thinking, if you're engaging on a higher level, you'll just find that there are certain people who don't fit in. You don't have to push them off. They fall off just by themselves. But for you to get there, you must be clear about your destinations. If you're not clear about your destination, then nothing else is going to fit into place. I've got to know that this is where I want to be, and then probably give it a timeline. When I know that what I will have created is a certain level of scarcity of time, so I realize I only have about 5 months to do the things that I need to do.
Right.
That in itself will cause me to begin to value my time. So it's going to bring me to a place where I have to prioritize. What do I need to do right now? So I think that the first thing about that is to realize you don't have all the time to do things. Procrastination is one of the reasons everybody is saying people do the same thing 5 years and then you keep on quoting the same things, and then you have all this, we have all the statements that we make, but then somebody never really gets to wake up to do it because they think, I'll do it next time, I'll do it tomorrow. Then we keep on ending up in crisis. So the moment you realize you don't have all the time to do the things that you want to do, then you begin to value the time that you have. And probably then you start setting priorities. So what is important for me, or what do I need to do now to get to the place that I want to get to? Yeah.
And speaking about time, I find that, it is very, again, fashionable to say we have a vision board. and we are putting all these things together. But there are very few people who actually sit down and say, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, this is how I intend to get there. Yeah. Is that something that you've experienced as well?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure at some stage in our lives, you've all done that. And sometimes the problem is we think there are other people who make us slow down. True as it may be, but we also allow them to make us slow down. But we also slow ourselves down. Yes, this vision board business has become fashionable. Like, or do you have a vision board? You know, you're in your company cafeteria, you're talking to your friends. Yes, I have a vision board. So has it gone beyond your vision? Because with a vision, there has to be tele. You have to move, you understand? So now many people have had vision boards for the last 5 years, and all you do is just keep on changing the English because nothing much has changed.
Right.
You understand? So now we got to get from that vision board and remove those letters or those words or sentences or pictures
yes,
and bring them to life. And yes, there's this, you post a photo of Mandela, Obama, because those are your role models. But for them to be your role models, they actualized their vision. So it's not just as good as looking at it and say, you know, I'm going to be like that guy, I'm going to be like that lady. And you're not doing what they did to get to a place where people can put them on their vision board.
Yeah. So it's actually work. So how does somebody, you say you have to know your destination, right? So how do you, let's say I know, for example, I want to, I don't know, maybe there is somebody who is today they're a clerk and tomorrow they want to be a manager. Or there's somebody who, even as simple as, you know, I want to be, I have a six-pack by January.
January 2040 for 20. You, eh?
It's in the 20s. Yeah, so how do you actualize, you know, some of those things?
You see, once you're clear about where you want to go, the next thing you need to ask yourself is, what does it take you to get there? Because there's going to be a price to pay. You know, that's why most people then don't actualize, because they love the beauty of the picture, but they do not like the toughness of the work that comes with it. So they're hoping that this picture will somehow just become a reality without them having to go through the work of it. That's where people quit. They quit sometimes not because they don't know where they want to go, but they don't like what it takes to get there. And it's going to cost you really something. So the moment you know where you are trying to go, then find out, what does it cost to get there? What will it take in terms of time, mentality, friendships, knowledge, skill? Do I need to improve? Do I need to go to school? Do I need higher income? Do I need other streams of income? Do I need new set of friends? All of that. You've got to count the cost. If you don't do that, you will never get to the place that you're trying to go. And that's where most people give up. Yeah.
Because they don't want to count the cost. So what about those who also, because I also realize that there are people who they are also in that situation where just immediately you said you've had this thing for 5 years and it's never come. They are probably in that place. And so then frustration now comes in. And there's also a danger of living in frustration, despair, and discouragement, and having what they call a pity party and not coming out of that. So for that person who maybe it didn't happen, you know, they've had it for 2 years now, it's not working. They've tried this business for 2 years now, nothing. What do you tell, you know, such a person?
In fact, I would frown, I would run away from that statement. It just did happen. No, they actually played a major part in making it not happen. Now, many people in that situation of no movement are scared of making the hard decisions. Like the people you must say goodbye to. It's easy to say goodbye to somebody who has abused you, who has gossiped you. But sometimes you need to say goodbye to those people who you like hanging around with. Those very good friends. But sometimes good friends are not good for you in as far as upward mobility is concerned. So what you got to understand is look at yourself in the mirror, have what you call a self-surgery, an introspection. Look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Before you start looking on the external factors, look at yourself. What part have you played? Are you scared of making those hard decisions? Are you scared of moving away from those people who are dead, for lack of a better word? Because some of us, you are alive, but you're living among the dead. You understand? So once you get to a place where you're bold enough to move away, then you say, you have done your bit. Now, what else do I need on the external factors? Because there is no way, and hear me good, there is no way you want to be a butcher and you're living in a place where people are vegetarians. Now, if you're there for 5 years and you're saying, why am I not selling my meat? Hang on a minute. It's up here. Yeah.
Unasema mambo ya nyama tukakumbuka rafiki yetu Dennis Okara. All right. So maybe the other thing that we should touch on, because we've talked about the mind change, but still also just like in terms of how do you change your mind how do you get up from that place where, like you're saying, yes, what if maybe they did everything right, or they are doing everything right, and it's just not clicking? Do you now say, okay, hii kitu haijakuja, hiyo six-pack imekataa, I'll never get that promotion, I'll never, yeah.
There's also the element of perseverance. Yeah, there's the element of perseverance. Some things will not work out in the time that you want them to work out, but then you've got to keep on doing it. And you require quite some discipline in that, because you keep your focus on the ultimate goal that you have. Probably then you need to find one or two other people who have either done what you're doing or they're doing the same thing, because maybe there is one or two things that you may need to learn just to add to what you're doing already. It's not always that we should give up just because we've not seen the desired results. We have to also understand that principle of delayed gratification. And I think that in our day, we want to see results now. Everything we start, we want to see it grow and become what it needs to become now. And sometimes that becomes a cause of frustration. In the process of becoming or doing what you're doing, even when you don't necessarily see the results, you're growing in terms of mentality and skill and ability and personality. You're learning certain lessons. You need to be very broad about how you judge your success and your failure. You could run a business for 2-3 years, then it collapses. You didn't fail. You have learned vital lessons in business, in management, in finances. When you go into your next thing, you're not the same as when you started the first one. So we've got to also have a very broad perspective of what we define as success and failure. It's not always just getting to the destination. It is what have you learned while you're on the journey to your destination. Yeah.
So picking up the lessons along the way as well.
Yeah.
Also, just to borrow also from the conversation that was here on Friday, and because you brought it up when you said having a crowd shift. And so how do I know, for example, I need a crowd shift?
Well, first and foremost, the very basic things. If you are the top dog in your crowd, then there's a problem.
Define top dog.
Yes. They dance to your tune, They laugh at all your jokes, even the boring ones. You are the be-all and end-all in the group. That means you're dying. You must have, as people follow you, there's somebody else who you must be following, you understand? Because people follow somebody who's going somewhere. And you also have to go somewhere by following somebody who has already been where you want to be, you understand? So when you have a crowd that you are the top dog, you're the be-all and end-all, if you have a crowd that honestly, there's a lot of excitement only when it comes to having fun, then you're in the wrong crowd. You must have a crowd that challenges you, that tells you the hard things. You understand what I'm saying? That tells you, you know what? You're not supposed to do those things. That put you under pressure. It's like a pressure cooker kind of friendship. To burst out, to manifest that potential which you've been threatening for the last 5 years. You understand? So a crowd that is not always just thinking about having too much fun. One day you say, like I was talking to Chris about something else, and we're like, we need to sit down and discuss this. People who say something that illuminates your mind to some great possibilities, and not possibilities of going to drink or nightclubs or women and all that. People who want to challenge you even intellectually. You understand? So you got to look at that crowd. If all you do, and take stock, take a pen and a paper, and ask yourself, this is my inner circle, this is my kitchen cabinet. And 70% of the time, either we're in a bar, or looking at women, or gossiping, then let me tell you, you need to put your feet on your shoulders and run away from that crowd. When are you going to discuss things that will build you as a person? Because let me tell you, time waits for no man. Even right now, the clock is still ticking. You can never recover time, but you can redeem time. So if the first half of the year you've been having this kind of crowd, time has already gone. You cannot rewind and go back to May. But let me tell you, you can still make something that should have happened in May happen in August. By redeeming that time. And how do you redeem the time? You have to make the very difficult decisions. The problem is that majority of us want to please everybody. Oh, I don't want these people to think I'm showing off. But there comes a time you say, you know what? I can't. If you look at an expectant lady, when she gets to the second trimester onwards, some smell, some odors she doesn't like, she'd go somewhere and she's like, no, this is not the place for me. Because within her, she's carrying something valuable. She's carrying a dream, you know, something huge. So I will not sit here because what I'm carrying, yet you cannot see it. What I'm carrying, I know is important for me. So I'll remove it from this very uncomfortable environment and go to an environment that will help me nurture and bring forth that which I'm carrying.
Yeah. Whew. All right. And so for the same thing, it becomes very painful. Let's say this was our group, and now I have to say, you know what, guys, it's been real. How do you break it down? How do you, apart from saying it's been real, how do I say, okay, without also making them feel like, yeah.
You know, when you engage yourself in important matters, you'll just find that there are certain things that are going to suffer. That means that you're less available for certain things, you're less available for certain people, you're not showing up a lot. And slowly, guys will just begin to understand that this guy is not around for us. Well, the first thing that will happen is that you'll have people talking about, man, we don't see you anymore. You don't have time for us anymore. That's a very good place now for you to, you know, let them know, I'm engaged. In many ways, you don't have to antagonize people when you're cutting them off. You just get busy with the right things, and you will find that the wrong people fall off. They do very easily. They'll always fall off. They'll get angry about it. They'll talk about you. They will get messed up about it. You know, you're just not available for them. And we cannot always keep on thinking about what other people are going to think. Eventually, you are responsible for your decisions. And you cannot blame anybody for where you will be, regardless of how bad your situation is and regardless of how bad things are and what people did to you. Eventually, your wholeness, your wellness, your success is your responsibility. And you have choices to make. You can go through the worst of days and still make up your mind that you're going to take up, you know, your life and do something about it. And people have done that. The people like Nick, who has no arms, no feet, and he's doing something about it. So there are always examples of people who are showing you that even in the worst situations, you can make a decision. So you cannot blame people for where you are. In the same manner, you cannot try to carry everybody.
That was actually going to be my next question, because wouldn't it be like, you know what, I want all of us to prosper in this thing, so let's all go. Prosperity
is a mindset, and I say that the moment you have a mind shift, you're going to have a crowd shift. You can't have everybody prospering unless they want to. They must want what you want for them to go where you're going. I can't push you, Willis, to go a certain direction that you don't want. So the thing is for me to be clear about, this is where I'm going. And then if you feel that that resonates with you, then you come along and then we go. If you don't want it, you know, I was having a discussion with somebody on Sunday who was telling me how they started a business for somebody, then the guy ran it down. And I said, never open a business for anybody. You don't open for them. You come to boost what somebody's doing. The moment you have set up shop for somebody and put up everything for them, and then you tell them this is where you will be, first of all, they've invested nothing. They have no stakes in that. Whether it rises or falls, they lose nothing. They can easily walk away from it after 2 weeks and tell you, Willis, that business you started for me is not working, and they give you excuses and they walk away, but you're the one who invested.
The money and everything.
Yeah, because they were never in it. It was never their idea, it was never their passion, it was never their drive. But if somebody started something by themselves and then they've been going at it for a while, then you come in to boost it, their chances of success are higher. So you cannot make everybody go with you. You can never make everybody go with you. And you must be willing to count. That's part of the course that I was talking about. You must be willing to count that and be comfortable with the fact that not everybody will go with you, and just walk on. Eventually, you're responsible for you, not for everybody else.
Before you take a break, I know you're coming up on a break, but there's the statement, it is lonely at the top. So some people are, well, not really, subconsciously, they're afraid that if I become very successful, then my the air at the top is cooler, and not everybody came with a jacket.
Right.
So how do you stay, because you still need, no man is an island again. So those two things, it's lonely at the top, then no man is an island. So how do you do it?
In fact, when they say it's lonely at the top, it doesn't mean you're alone. It just means you have the right people, and they're very few.
Okay.
It's crowded where there's mediocrity. There's too much competition where there's mediocrity. So the higher you go, it means there's some people who may not have the zeal or the oomph to do that which you're doing to get there. So those are the ones CJ is saying will automatically drop off.
They'll fall off.
Now you'll not be available to go to the nightclubs every Tuesday, every Friday, every Saturday. So those ones automatically start falling off. You will not be comfortable sitting in a crowd of people gossiping other people. So they will not fall off because that is their behavior, but you will move away. So as you move up, you'll be meeting other people, for lack of a better word, like-minded. And there are not many. By the way, if you want to know there's mediocrity, go where the crowd is bigger. It's as simple as that. So yes, no man is an island, but even as you're lonely at the top, you'll meet other lonely people doing the right things. Crowd sometimes, show me where everybody's going, and I'll tell you that's a place to avoid. Yeah.
Apart from in marketing. But it is true. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go on with this discussion, finishing strong. If you have any questions, comments, and views as well, you can go ahead and text us on 22422 or use the hashtag Daybreak. Tutakuwa tunarejea. Usicheze mbali. All right, welcome back to Daybreak and welcome back to Engage. We're here with CJ Atemo and Robert Burale, and we're talking about finishing strong. In case you're just joining us, it's all about, we have about 5.5 months now. Remember in July when you saw that meme that said, nobody waste your time. 2020 is 6 months, where now you have 5.5 months. And the question is, what have you done for yourself lately? What have you done to make sure that by 2020, your life is different? It's not just a vision board. All right, so we've been talking about the crowd shift and everything, but during the break, CJ mentioned something that I think we should go back on, which is one fear that people don't talk about as much, which is the fear of success. Yeah, tell us about that.
Like everybody was talking about, as you go up, and you mentioned that it said that it's lonely at the top.
Right.
Now, that's a high price to pay. It's a high price to pay for you to succeed because, one, perception of the people. Most of the time, when you're not available and you're doing your things, most people will call you proud or arrogant or whatever it is. Then you don't have everybody to call and talk to, even when you're going through tough times. The reason it said it's lonely is because when you're at the top, you can't call everybody and say, guys, I'm stuck. Because again, you carry the hopes and aspirations of so many people. So some people then fear that kind of a life, that they're going to be isolated, they're going to be misunderstood, they're going to be hated. People mostly hate you for your position in life, not for who you are. If you are with a crowd and then immediately you're elevated to be above them, they will quickly change their attitude towards you. They don't hate you. They hate what you represent, which is the success that they don't have. So when you are becoming successful, you have a growing number of critics, haters, naysayers. That's when things that are assumed that you did in the past begin to show up. All kinds of stories.
Preach to the choir.
Interesting how somebody will say that you did something 15 years ago and they never brought it up 15 years ago until you become successful. It's what you represent that they hate. So they want to tell people you're not all that. And there are guys who don't have the thick skin to face success, because you will have all these kind of people who want your place. Let me tell you, haters are just people who want to be you. Always. They just want to be you. And they don't like it that you are you and you are doing what you're doing. They wish it were them. So to make them feel better, they want to pull you down. And so when you begin to succeed, you're going to have to deal with all of this. And some people just don't feel comfortable having to deal with the pressure, the hate, the talk. When you're in public, RB, well, thank God, somehow God has kept me. But RB, he will face all these kinds of stuff that people will write about you because you're out there. And for some people, they think, I don't want people talking about me, so let me just stay low. Let me have a quiet life, and let me have a simple life where everybody likes me. Yeah, so it's a fear of success.
Yeah. So now that we're there, RB, how do you deal with it? Because you're a fairly successful gentleman.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So how do you deal with it when such stuff happens?
My Bishop David Moredi said something to me one time when I faced some attack. He says the one thing you must do is have a soft heart but a thick skin. Soft heart to enjoy, to go through the emotions, because they help you either grow or just become tougher. But you got to have a very, very tough skin. Now, what happens is, never take it personally. CJ just summarized it well. They don't really hate you. They hate where you are. Yeah. And then the worst thing is, for example, the three of us, 5 years ago, all we were doing is playing pool somewhere for 50 shillings. And then one time when I have my mind shift, I said, I'm not going to be going to the pool tables anymore. And then I start now moving upwards. But you're still playing the pool table. Then in your head, you'll be like, but this is the guy we used to be playing pool with. Yeah. And since we are still here, even if he's not going to come back here, we'll bring him down with some of the things we'll say. Like 5 years ago, he used to come here. We used to give him 5 shillings to bet for the pool table. But at that time, maybe you're a homeowner. You're a CEO of your own company. But because of that, you want to, since you'll not physically bring me back there, you will now go and say, this guy 5 years ago used to be with us here and there. Well, but 5 years ago is 5 years ago.
That's true.
So also have a mind shift. That's as he said. Mind shift automatically leads you to a crowd shift. But thick skin is important, because now, for example, we'll be discussing what do you do in the second half of the year. Somebody will comment, please marry. For me. You understand what I'm saying? And we're not discussing anything to do with that per se. So now you have to roll with the punches.
Right.
And for you to go further, you must know who to listen to.
Right.
Because when you listen to the wrong voices, they will turn your right direction to the wrong direction. So there's some you'll never stop them from talking, but you have the control over what the words will have over you.
I think we need to start this straight. That you have grown up with somebody or known somebody does not mean that you own that person. So there's this madness of, but we used to be with him. It needs to stop. It's not illegal for anybody to break out of the pack and go ahead. You know, it doesn't make it invalid. Just because I used to hang out with you and now you're doing well and I'm not, does not mean that your success is not valid. Just because we used to go into the same school or something does not invalidate my success. In fact, it puts a question to why am I still stuck where I was. While I'm trying to say, but we used to go out with Arbi, we were walking on foot over here. Now he thinks it's really something. Instead of looking at it from the point of why does he think he's anybody, that statement alone is supposed to put a question mark on me.
Absolutely.
If we were together, why haven't I done what he did to get where he got
Fantastic.
to? You know, we must begin now to put the pressure on the critics. We must begin to put the pressure right there. Right. You say the guy was your classmate, but why are you not there? You say that you started with the guy, but why are you not like him? Right. You know, so that we need to kill this thing of people who love to kill success, haters of success and things like that. But again, as I say, you know, you just shut your ears in life. As long as you have self-validation, as long as you have self-love and self-appreciation, you know where you've come from and where you are at, you don't listen to the naysayers. Yeah.
You quickly, you drum out.
They don't know what it takes to be you.
Okay. But you have to, the naysayers is that, I mean, public opinion finishes people who give too much attention.
Right.
To their opinion.
You must always look at the source. Who is saying it? What is their driving force? There's some positive criticism. If CJ calls me and tells me, RB, 1, 2, 3, I know he's not telling me to put me down. It's because he wants the best for me. But the people who say that, I mean, they're all over. There are people who say that because they're not happy. And I want to speak to those people. And success is not only financial abundance. Success is doing that which you're called to do, which automatically brings fulfillment. And fulfillment, for me, is the highest form of success. And I want to speak to those people. Every time you waste 1 hour putting someone else down, you have missed 60 minutes of building yourself. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And I mean, there are people who are building the financial muscle, the corporate muscle. You are there building your finger muscle by abusing people. 5 years from today. And the question is, let me talk to a 35-year-old man or woman. All they do is gossip people and bring people down on Facebook or social media platforms. 5 years, you'll be 40. Still doing the same thing. And then 19-year-olds will join you doing the same thing. Other 40-year-olds have families. Other 40-year-olds are getting to the place of actualization. You, Fingerization.
I mean 5 years down the line, they won't be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I believe in life, you don't remain in the same state.
Right.
You're either becoming better or becoming worse. Yeah. You don't need to do anything to become worse.
Either way, there is growth, upward or
yes.
It's upward. Yeah. For you to become better, you must be intentional. To become worse, you don't need to do anything. Yeah. So anybody that doesn't do anything that makes them better, they will be worse. I tell you, 5 years down the line, they will be bitter.
Very.
They will be very bitter because they will be seeing the same people that they were attacking. Their lives kept on moving. And then you realize even the people that were helping you attack other people, at some point they changed their minds and they started moving. So you feel like people betrayed you. They left you in that place, so you were the only one who was saying, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that. And then you left there very bitter. You've got to understand, again, like I said, you are responsible for you. You are responsible for you. Stop this hard mentality. You're responsible for you. Make decisions, actualize them, follow through your dreams. Pursue your purpose and your goals. You'll find that fulfillment that RB is talking about. You'll be so fulfilled that you don't even know how to attack somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, there's something she just said, I'm sorry. Follow your purpose and your dreams.
Yeah.
But I've seen something, especially in our lovely country here, where a wave comes. Oh, Organo Gold has come. Everybody goes there because that is the exciting thing at that time. And then people drop off because they become bitter. That is not your path. Now people are going to another maybe direction because everybody is going there. Find your path, find your purpose. Because every time you run somebody else's race, you're disqualified. Think with me for a minute, a 4x1 relay race. You must keep to your lane. The moment you step on somebody else's lane, you're disqualified. And what makes you step on somebody else's lane? Lack of concentration. You're trying to see how far has this guy gone? Has he received the baton? Instead of just waiting for the guy who's going to give you your baton and then look forward. Once you feel the hand touching the baton, stick to your lane. But the moment you're looking on your left, on your right, the chances are high that you'll step on somebody else's lane and they disqualify you. And then you'll sit back as you're now watching other people lifting their hands in victory. What happens to you? You become bitter. And that's where most people are. And if you don't believe me, go on the social media platforms. People spew a lot of bitterness. Some don't even know who Willis Raburu is, but they speak as if they were with you in nursery school.
Hawa tunaodaga na wapenda wote. So somebody who is watching, and I've seen some people asking me to remind them about your handles because they say, tell me that is Edwin Morebu. So it is at Burale 1 and at CJ Atemo, right? So, but we'll post to baadaye pia. But so there's some people who are watching and they're like, okay, I've heard what you guys have said and I'm now ready for a mindset. And I already have this picture of what I want and I really want to change. I know probably when you're mentioning friends, they know. And that's the thing, you always know the people who are misleading you, it's just that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
They know those friends that they need to let go of. They know the places they need to stop going. They know the things, even the things they're supposed to do. Maybe it's time for them to go to Kwaile resolution book or fanya what they're saying they're going to do this year. Yeah. And there's still time. What do you say to that person who's like, okay, RB, okay, CJ, I want to start. I don't want to say ati wacha ningoje wiki pite nimalizane na watu. Nataka kuanza leo. What do I do? How do I start?
Well, first, and I'll go back to what I said at the top. It starts here. Now, forget about the other people first. Look at your own weaknesses and strengths. These are my limitations. These are my strong points. Let me now amplify my strong points. Better yourself. Do short courses. You know, I have a friend called Flavor. This guy was a barber a few years ago. Now he's one of the top marketing guys. Why? Because he decided, okay, fine, I'll do these short courses. I'll start going to these places. I'll start hanging around these people to understand the ropes of marketing. You understand? Well, other people, and there's nothing wrong with being a barber, of course, but other people then maybe have remained employed instead of getting their own barber shop. You understand? 20 years ago. So now what you got to do is have a meeting with yourself. Call yourself to a meeting, sit on one chair, put another chair, and speak to yourself. And say, listen, I've done resolutions for the last 5 years. Now, I will not make another resolution in 2020. Let me go back to my book and look at the 5 years of all the resolutions I've made. How many have I actualized? Or how many have I even started making the first step to move towards that? Then now start from there. Because inaction is failure. So action is your first point of upward mobility before you think of other people.
You have to make a move.
And I'm glad what CJ said, and it just opened my mind to something. The moment you start moving towards your purpose, you will not need to take the phone and make that dreaded phone call that you guys, I want to stop hanging around with you. They will just disqualify themselves. It's just like when you're in the Division 1 of the English League. When you qualify, and you go to the Premier League, you will not longer go to those funny stadiums. You understand? Now, think about the people who are the top 4, who are in the Premier League.
The Champions League.
The Champions League. Yes. They will have to watch football on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then automatically, you will avoid the people who watch football on Thursday. I'm sorry for Arsenal fans, but that's just how it is.
you know, there's also the other
Perfect
thing.
Analogy, yeah.
While you're having that meeting with yourself, you need to do a value assessment. Until you can see the value of what you want to achieve or where you want to go, you will never make the movement towards it. It's a matter of value. Why does a man pursue a woman when he wants to either relate with her or marry her or something? It's the value. And regardless of where this woman lives, that man will go there. Regardless of how hard it is to reach her, this man will make the effort. What is determining this is the value he sees in that woman. The moment he loses that value, he stops the pursuit. Mostly we don't pursue things because we have not attached the value to it. The moment that value is greater than where I am at, the pursuit becomes easier. And so even as you sit there, you know, and decide, I'm going to make a movement and take action, it becomes easier because you feel that that's really something that I want. And I love to say this, that start from where you are. Start with what you have. Start with what you can do. You may not be able to do everything, but then there are always those little steps that you can take. There are things you can do. For example, you want to get into entrepreneurship and you still don't have the money, but there's certain things that you can do even before the money comes. Probably you can be making contacts, you can be, you know, marketing your product, you can be improving on your skill. There's always what you can do while you're waiting for what you need to do what you need to do. Never diminish the power of what is in your hand. Never look at it as, this is nothing, let me wait for something bigger. Start from there. And then eventually, as you grow, you'll keep on accessing people and resources, knowledge and skill that will help you get better at it.
And there's also another group of people, even before we wind up. So there are people who want to start tomorrow, but there are those who started in January, and up to today, they have still not seen anything that would encourage them to continue. In fact, they're on the verge of giving up. In fact, they're probably, maybe because I always believe there is always that one person. Nothing just happens. There's somebody who's just probably tuned in. There's always that one person who's just about to give up.
Right.
And who maybe just has tuned in right now and who's not watching by accident. What do you tell that person who is today they're waking up to write that resignation letter. Today they're waking up to go and close their business. Today they're waking up to probably even end that relationship. You know, what do you say to such?
And by the way, having said that, some people must resign today.
Don't start a movement.
No. Some people must resign today. Yeah. Because you can hold on to good and miss out your best. And others maybe who have done everything and nothing is happening. I liken them to a black man in a dark room winking at a black woman and expecting a reaction. You got to get out of that room. Or if you're talking among the dead bodies and expecting a response, yes, you're talking and you're moving around the place, but you're moving to nowhere. So just get out of that door. What am I saying? You don't have the money, as CJ said, to start a business, but get out. Open the door, start talking to people, start making connections, because one day you'll talk to somebody who loves your idea. Your idea plus that somebody's money will push you or propel you to do that which you're supposed to do. Sometimes an idea is just looking for somebody, or somebody with money is looking for somebody with an idea.
Right.
Money is looking for a home, but nobody's opening the door.
Hey, man, you come. I have open door. CJ, what would be your advice?
Sometimes you just need to step out of the environment of what you're doing and then have an aerial view. As I said earlier, sometimes, you know, the success in itself is not just that you have attained your goals or arrived at your destination. There may be lessons. So as you look at whether you need to stay or get out of a relationship, a job or something, you need to have a clear assessment of what have you gained, what have you learned, what is working, what is not working, what were you trying to achieve, what steps have you made, how far have you come, before you just come out and say it's not working, I need to get out. Probably what you're saying is not working is just one aspect of this thing, and it's the one that you really want to work. Sometimes somebody will think a relationship is not working because somebody has not proposed, and then they're not looking at all the other gains that they have made. Sometimes you're looking at a business and thinking it's not working because the profit has not come, but then you're forgetting the footprints. Probably now people know your business more than when you started 2 years ago. You have made headways and footprints all around, and you're just beginning now to have loyal customers, and you're thinking, I'm still not making profit. So you've got to have a very broad view of that. It's not always just about we've made the money. It is when we started, where were we at? And right now, when we mention our name, how many people will get to resonate with the fact that they know what we do? That's success in itself. So you don't just look at one side and feel because I wanted this one thing to happen, it's not happening. Then you throw away everything else that is working. Yeah.
Wow. I hope that, people who were watching have picked up a few things. They want to end it at that point. Would like to say a big thank you at Burale 1. Niliona and Shelling. Utaongea leo ama hadi siku ifuatayo?
Hiyo ndawaambia.
Utatuambia
next time.
All right.
But please tell some people to resign. Some have to resign today.
You'll start a movement.
Okay.
There's always that thing. I was watching TV one morning. You'll hear a story 5 years from now.
They'll be thanking me. They'll be thanking me.
There's a day I was here with Willis, just the two of us, and we were talking about transition.
Yes.
And then I made a transition. That
the same
particular
day.
day.
Yeah. So be careful.
Sometimes us motivational speakers do the wrong thing. You can do it. You can do it. Don't just make it sound flowery. It's a process.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much once again, gentlemen. Remember, you can follow them at CJ Atemo at Burale 1. That is on all platforms. We really do appreciate you taking the time to come through and you taking the time to watch and also for your feedback. And also, we'd like to say, I'll leave you with this. This is something that, just like somebody will say about Burale's resigning, this is something that a while ago while I was in campus, I watched something that changed my life by Joel Osteen. He said, you say, Joel, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't get that breakthrough? Well, what if it does work? What if you do get that breakthrough? You might be shortchanging yourself. So, by the way, what if nifanya na isi work? What if it does work?
Yeah. Right.
So do it anyway. Successful people look like you and the great Manchester United.
Are you sure?
Next season.